All right, guys, welcome back. Thank you guys for coming. Let's see.
Woo.
Okay, this is American Lunchbox Podcast, starting episode 3. Welcome back, guys. Obviously, you guys know who we are, but just in case, for shits and giggles, for those of you all who don't, that's Tim, that's Chris, and that. Wait a second. Where the hell is Richard?
Oh, yeah.
I think he had some trouble with his parole officer, actually. I'll be back next week, maybe.
All right. Well, okay. Well, we usually have another guy, but he's deciding that
Missing
someone
in
else is
action.
going to the podcast today. And then it's me, Battle. So welcome back, guys. We're going to start the show up right now. Thank you guys for coming and showing up because we know that there's something else you could be doing. I want to obviously welcome back all the listeners, too, for listening to the podcast. I hope you guys are enjoying what we're saying. Today, we're going to be talking about in episode 3, the COVID-19
No.
in 2020. And we're going to be talking about how you have been spending your time. You guys, have you been spending your time wisely? Are you having any regrets in regards to what you could be doing instead of sitting your ass at home eating bonbons and watching television? Or have you been doing some creative things? And basically, would you go back? If you go back right now, would you change something? So let's get the show kicked off. What do you think, Tim? Talk to me.
What do I think? Wait, Richard? Oh, no, wait, no, Richard.
Oh, wait.
I keep hearing him. No, he's not here.
Okay.
He's here in my mind.
I guess throughout the show we can see if he shows up. Feel free to ask him a question though, if you and maybe he'll show up or something. Go ahead, Tim. Tell us how you feel. What's going on, brother?
Nice.
You know he got coronavirus, right, guys?
Oh!
Nah, it's just
Wrong.
No, we don't want that.
No, I'm actually happy. I'm actually back to work now recently. So for the last like 2-3 weeks now, I've been back to work. So it's actually been nice to get out of the house and not be stuck here for 18, 20 bazillion hours a week or a day. So yeah, what would I do differently? Probably would have been more focused. There was a creative project that I thought I was going to get a chance to work on at work, and it ended up not panning out. So I was sitting there spending a lot of time trying to learn some After Effects and learn some technical skills. But like I said, the project, fluffed off. So what can you do with it? But hey, at least I got to learn some After Effects, and I got to learn how to do some 3D stuff. I'm actually spending a lot more time on my little piano here, so trying to learn how to play that. I've got a kick-ass keyboard. And if I'd had the chance to do it again, I would have started with this right from the start. So I think that's my biggest thing. And number one thing I would have done differently, I would have gone bowling one last time before they shut everything down in California.
we were desperately trying to get to the bowling alley the day everything was shutting down. And in fact, I think I had like drove by there that day just to make sure, and they were like, "Sorry, it's not."
I was actually on my way to drive to one, but then I forgot something, and I had to turn around and go back, and I was like, I'm already halfway there, and it's gonna close in an hour. I'm like, I'm done. It'll be open another day, and yeah, that day never came.
Your ball never returned.
Ball never returned.
When you get a chance, you have to do a little recital for us every so often, so that we can see how your piano skills are
Absolutely.
Improving.
Absolutely.
I saw something on Facebook. Shout out to your Facebook page,
Right.
Tim Taylor. But I saw something on your Facebook that
I think it was Tim R.
Tim something.
I'm just joking.
I'll post a link. There'll be a link down in the description.
Yeah, so, post a link so that folks get to see this, at least that one post that you did. It sounded like some old Negro spiritual or something. I feel like doing it like a hymn afterward, because you were. It sounded great though.
Right.
I loved it. I commented on it and everything because I said this is the reason why the COVID is so important, so that you'll be able to do something that you probably wouldn't have never done before. So kudos for you, Tim.
Oh, thanks.
For,
yeah.
stepping out of the box.
Yeah, a little background on that. It was a friend of mine, a Facebook friend of mine, former coworker for many moons ago. I guess she was going through a tough time with COVID. I think her mother or father just passed away, so she was feeling really down, and she posted like a few days earlier saying something like, "Somebody play Soft Kitty for Soft Kitty or Warm Kitty for me from The Big Bang Theory." And I thought, oh, I know how to play that song. It's, very, very basic piano song. So I thought, all right, I'll play it. That'll be something. It was something I've been meaning to do because I wanted to record myself playing just to see, where I'm at and what have you. And I thought, okay, this is something kind of nice to do as well. So I recorded it, played it, and of course it made her cry, so it was all good. So I got to pat myself on the back for being a good boy that day.
Man, you're the new Ed Sheeran, Tim.
Right?
Yeah, and shout out to Tim for community service.
Right.
Next week, Caltrans. Well, what's going on with you, Chris?
I think I've done all the typical positive things that the generic positive things that everyone's talked about, like keeping in touch with family via the phone, and also, as we talked about last week, trying out new sports and hobbies. And so I mostly feel pretty positive about this. I mean, I'm working from home, and I'm not going out that much or ordering out that much. And other than doing a lot of dishes, I mean, I'm saving a lot of money, which is cool. Realizing how much money I blew before this all started. And one thing I would say, though, that I regret, so I was thinking about this, what would I do differently, right? If I had to do this again or do this over from scratch, is I think I would have been a little more bolder about traveling. Maybe not to visit people, but just to get out and about. Like, for instance, without getting too much into the details, working from home, but where most people have a little laptop, they gave me a big screen, let's put it that way. And that's great for getting work done, but it also completely locks me to my desk. So if I were to do it over again, I'd ask for a little tiny laptop. And this way I could chill on the couch and like watch TV while I did work. Or I could get one of those like Verizon $30 a month cards that has the internet and go out on the beach or go drive up the coast or something. So I think I would be a little more adventurous. If I knew it was coming, I would have put myself into a situation in which I could be a little more mobile.
Right. Well, this is what happens when your daughter calls you while you're doing a podcast, if you happen to hear that background track there. Sorry.
That's okay. Family first. Go for it. We'll wait.
I'm doing a podcast, and you decide that FaceTiming me is the time. So shout out to Layla for interrupting my podcast.
Shout out, yeah.
Yeah, with my best buds. Okay, yeah. So
she's applying. Maybe she's applying for Richard's job.
You know what? Let's ask Richard. Okay. No, but for those people. Okay. No sign. So for those people maybe who did not hear last week's podcast, tell us about some of the sports things that you're doing.
Okay, so basically I just figured let me take my world, which I'm used to, and find new ways to utilize it in a smaller space. So I got a cruiser bike, and I rode the whole bike trail, which is like 42 miles. It takes me a long time, but it's nice and relaxing and peaceful. And I got a raft, a little $50 inflatable raft, and I go out early in the morning and hang out in the raft before the lifeguard comes and throws me out, or says, "That looks like a child's raft. What are you doing in that?"
Wait a second. Now, for those of you all who may not know Chris, he's about, let's say, 6 feet and X amount of pounds. All right.
Hey, luckily for me, we're filming this from the neck up.
Right. And I don't know. I would love to get a selfie next week of you in this raft, because I've seen it, because I FaceTimed you in the raft, not knowing you were in the raft.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't go right. Don't tilt left.
Yeah, it's going to look extra funny with the beers and the sunflower seeds that go on in the raft. It's going to be extra bloated looking. So I will look almost as blown up as the raft at that point.
Next week's podcast will be on Chris's raft.
Seriously, okay, so that's my point. This would be insane to do, to take the work computer on there, but I could, if I had that little laptop with the internet thing, I could have done my work from the raft, and no one would have been the wiser.
That's it.
Other than the fact we would have been talking about it on here and posting about it.
but you know what? And that goes to what you guys can talk about this. And I was very, very impressed about a month and a half into this whole COVID thing. One of my daughters, I have four. Shout out to the Battle Girls.
That's a good name. You should make a T-shirt for that.
We do have. They have T-shirts with Battle Girl on it. They have hashtags and stuff like that. But shout out to the Battle Girls. But one of my daughters, shout out to Amanda, and she at her job where she works took the whole idea of working from home. Now, I'm talking about a month and a half in. This is early, when people were really deciding if they could do their jobs at home and can we get this done? Oh my God, they had already decided that they changed the terminology. They changed the whole idea and went from, instead of working from home, they changed it to work from anywhere. You see the mentality.
Right.
They said, we don't want you to work from home. We want you to work from anywhere you can log on.
You're a remote worker. That's the new term.
It's a great deal for these companies. It's a great deal all around, I think, but it is a bit of a trade-off in which the companies. My electric bill's $200 more than it was the last time, and that's money that the company's not paying for an electric bill. My snacks. I got more snacks in the closet than I have, and I used to get snacks at work.
Thanks to Richard, actually.
And there's no way people could. I guess there is, but there's less conflicts that could happen between coworkers. I would imagine there's less potential for people to get into a fist fight or sexual harass someone over the internet, I suppose. On the flip side, it's good because I have an hour a day where I don't have to be traveling to work. So that hour for me has been not an excuse. It's been a reason to say, hey, you have no excuse not to exercise. So I've lost weight during this. I know I still have a long way to go, but I have lost weight during this. And it's because of the fact that I have no reason to say, I'm so tired from going back and forth to work. I don't. No. Take that hour, which you used to spend doing something else, and move. Travel, but use your legs to do so.
And that's the interesting part. And that's why when we talk about work from anywhere, I'm going to be doing a campaign where I'm literally going around the country looking at different places with the laptop in my hand. And it's going to be Battle works from anywhere. And I'm going to start posting pictures of myself in the oddest freaking places. Because I realize
where in the world is George Battle?
Say it again?
Where in the world is George Battle?
That's it.
I knew this was the first step of George running for president this show.
It's going to be either me or Kanye West. You make your choice.
Damn, you just... Okay, yeah, sorry. I was going to say, you ruined a joke I had written, but that was next week's joke, so surprise.
I'm with Battle.
So basically, this whole idea of being able to work anywhere, and Chris, you're absolutely right. So, but Tim, this doesn't work for you because you got a piano there, and you can't lug that piano. And I know with you, because I know your family, you guys like to travel. You guys like to get out, go camping. How's this affecting what you guys have been doing?
Well, we usually go camping around like late August or something like that. But yeah, we had to cancel our plans because the campsite we were going to go to is no longer available. So we just said, and plus we were worried about myself. I got furloughed for a few weeks or whatever, or a few months actually. So yeah, there was a loss of income. So yeah, I had to sit there and make some sacrifices and say, yeah, I think we're just going to cancel our vacation this year. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think for me, it's just the boredom of being stuck in the house. I've got one family member who likes to watch MSNBC all freaking day long. And it's like, I think this person has cut back on it because we called this person on it. I don't want to say who it is because this person might be listening.
They're right behind you, Tim.
It's not my wife. But yeah, after a while, it's like, okay, can we change the channel? Can we put on Disney Plus? Can we put on anything other than this? I mean, I want to stay informed. I want to hear. I mean, I want to stay informed. I don't mind watching the Trump shit show every once in a while. That was fine, but it was just constantly. It was like, oh God, just get me out of here. So, yeah.
If you put in the corner, if you tape to the corner of your screen MSNBC, but turned on Tucker Carlson, do you think they'd realize?
Yes. Yeah. They would.
I don't think that channel's allowed.
No. I go, can we put it at least get it on CNN? Get us on BBC. Get something other than flip over one biased news to another. I mean, get a little variety in there. So, but yeah, with the one thing about the piano, at least it keeps me occupied and it keeps my mind. I'm doing something and I'm learning something new. I think the one downside I've definitely found is that on the weekends, I could sit there and, before COVID, I could, go somewhere. I could go out, go to the gym, go for a long bike ride, go hang out on the beach or whatever, go bowling. But you can't really do that during lockdown. So it's like, I think the one thing is I was bored and I ate a lot. I sat there and binge watched. You got the refrigerator right there.
So dangerous.
Oh God, yeah. And it's just, yeah. I mean, I probably put on at least a good 10 or 15 pounds doing that shit.
And it's a good thing you're a peaceful person, because they're saying a lot of other people aren't. Like, being stuck in the house has led to increases in domestic violence. And
yeah,
I'm sorry, that's a nervous laugh. I don't mean to joke about it, but no, it's been led to like bad stuff, like abusive situations got more abusive and crazy things like that.
Oh no, I believe it. I mean, me and my wife have had to. We've gotten into heated debates about things. So it's just, it is what it is. You spend enough time with somebody. It's like it's like any family. It's like you get, how do I say this? There's quality time, but if you're never alone, it's like you don't really get to appreciate it. So I am glad to be back to work in that regard.
Yeah, back in the old days, you could go out for a pack of cigarettes and never return, but now the government brings you back. You must stay locked down.
That's right. And Tim, I definitely can empathize with what you're saying. But here's the reality. Much like what Chris said about having the boldness to be able to use this opportunity to seek out and go places and just be careful. I have decided that to take on that, and right now I'm away. I'm using this opportunity to obviously be with you guys, but also be in a remote place and take advantage of some mineral water healing down here in Desert Hot Springs. And I'll be here for a few days. Why? Because I have my computer, I have my work computer, and someone's going to clean my room every day. Why not?
Who?
Why not? I mean, it's and Chris, get your mind out of the gutter.
Well, I'm just wondering, do you have a paid maid, or is it like
it's
a favor that's being returned?
It's at the hotel.
Oh, that's my dogs.
Oh, okay.
I'm at the hotel.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty pivotal part of the. I didn't know that.
Hey, I'm not. No,
who
I'm
is
not.
This person.
Housekeeping. You want me to jerk you off? Housekeeping.
Oh shit.
No, I'm not in Thailand. Relax.
Not in Bangkok.
But it's also, like I said, it's about being bold enough, but being careful. Right. Being careful, but being bold enough to use this time during the COVID as an opportunity to continue and to do new things and to spawn new ideas. This idea of this podcast came out of the COVID.
Right.
3 guys, 4 guys, 3 guys now, because Richard is not here.
3.5.
Right. Was that 3.5 men? Was that the show?
Close enough.
Close enough. Yeah, but this show came out of the necessity of 3 guys who usually see each other and have a good time and unable to do that. Well, that's a good thing. This is a latent effect and a good byproduct of the COVID. So for me, I'm I have very little negative things to say other than, of course, the loss of life. And I mean, there are obviously things that are not good about it. But personally, I'm using this as an opportunity to really dig in and find outlets and ways to discover, because when we look back on this, I believe this is going to be extremely pivotal. I mean, Tim, I know this is a very sensitive subject, and I don't want to bring up any old wounds, but when we look at our experience in this country, where were you doing 9/11? It was a time. And this is going to be one of those times. What did you do during the COVID? Where were you?
Oh yeah. No, I that's why I was very cautious to maintain my cool, because I know what you're saying. And for instance, when the panic was setting in and there was people, not everyone, most people were calm, but those douchey people you usually see were extra douchey, running around the supermarket. I saw a guy running around the supermarket like there was nothing left. The supermarket was still half full. Where'd I put my cart? Oh, I'm in the wrong aisle.
There's no toilet paper.
I'm going to stay real calm. I'm nervous, but I'm going to stay as calm as possible. Because when it's all said and done, I'm going to say I was as nice as possible to my fellow man while also being completely freaked out.
Exactly. And that's how we're going to have to reflect back on this. And obviously politically, socially, financially, all of these things. Because, Chris, you touched on something that was very important. What people don't realize is that they're saving money right now. Even though, I understand that the American people are having some financial issues. People who are able to still work, people who are able to still have income, and I understand that a lot of people are unemployment. But the truth of the matter is that there are some people who are choosing not to work instead of go back to work, because the unemployment is providing very close to what would be an income that's manageable for them in order to protect their families. And I understand that. But for those of us who do still have to work and do things like this, and I get it. But we're saving money because we can't go place. We can't spend money at the local bar, or we can't go to the amusement parks. We can't go to the mall as frequently. So people are able to save some dollars, and I think that's going to be a big point during Christmas time. And when people, I think we're going to have a great Christmas this year financially. I think people are going to spend as much as they can online. There's latent effects to all of this, and we're going to see the effects.
It's interesting because for all the people saying they wanted the economy to change, it kind of has, but not in the way they wanted. Like it might just be some new form of, regardless of the socialist light or capitalism aspects, it's just the fact, the economy of people staying at home and then choosing to have industries that are more based on the fact that everyone's staying at home. Like, I wonder if this is going to last forever, some of this stuff. Like, there were certain technologies that weren't being broached until the companies were forced to broach them. Like, the fact that people are staying at home could have been possible 5 years ago, but now it's here because it was necessary. But now, when things get into a pattern, sometimes they get locked into place. I wonder how much of this is long-lasting.
Well,
is this just because of the virus, or now that all this new technology and this new acceptance of that this is an acceptable way to work from far away, is that going to remain, or are companies going to want to bring people closer back in at some point? You see what I'm saying? Like, right now,
I think it's a
shopping from home stuff is going through the roof, but going to the mall stuff is going down.
Right. No, I think it's a combination of both. I think companies got to see what works and what doesn't work as far as remote working. And so I think they're going to keep a lot of it around. But, there's other parts where they said, I think my own place of employment, during some of our conference calls, they've said that, hey, we like having that interaction. We like being able to sit there and communicate with our fellow coworkers. So while remote working will definitely be, more integrated, allowing more people to work from home, we definitely want to bring people back into the office. So, I think it'll be a combination of both, where they can say, "Good."
But here's the thing, Chris. Would you go back, and why?
If I had the choice, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
If they asked me if I wanted to, I'd say no. And there are positive and negatives, but I think the positives of being here are fine. I just try to make sure I dress up for work. I try not to be bummed out. I try to take a shower and put on a button-down shirt before I go sit 4 feet away at the computer.
And I think that's what it's going to boil down to is personal preferences. Tim, I think your company is right when it says, hey, we're going to have to integrate both of these new realities, because, the question becomes until we find a vaccination or some kind of cure or whatever for this COVID, people are going to be asking the question I don't want to go back. There's no point, because I've done my job for the last 6 months. I did my job for the last 8 months.
Right.
There's last year.
There's proof that this works this way.
It proves that it works this way. So the question becomes why would you go back? And I understand the reasons why you go back. It's like what Tim said. Well, the social interaction, the need for the human touch, the need to be able to because what happens is if you continue to do something over and over again, you like a muscle, you lose it. And you can imagine what will happen in a year from now when people are forced to go back to work or maybe not, they're going to have to reacclimate themselves to the whole idea of being in an office or being amongst people. And it's going to be so weird.
Are we just in the world's nicest jail at the moment?
Basically. And, Ellen said something that got herself in trouble about that, recently. Unfortunately, her demise is slowly but surely happening. But she mentioned being very, feeling like she was incarcerated in some way or form or fashion. Ooh. And people took that as, look, you're in a 25,000 foot house. You don't have any idea how it feels to be incarcerated.
No kidding.
Yeah. So she took a lot of heat from that. But the point here is there's also other effects. Commercial real estate. There's no one in the offices.
Yeah.
So what do you?
Oh, that's the other. Okay, that's a good point. So that's a very good point. There's been times where I felt insecure, thinking I'm losing a step because everyone else is in the office but me. But then I have to remind myself that no one else is there.
Right.
Like I've told myself, if I was there, I'd go get this problem fixed. But that person who would fix it is also not there. So it's just dealing with the effects of the isolation, I suppose.
Right. And I guess it all depends on your job too. My current job, there's physical equipment at the job where I have to be there to do the job. There's no. That physical equipment cannot come home with me. As much as I would love for some of it to come home with me, that's not a reality. But
Tim works at a textile factory.
Damn, man, you gave it away. But me, be George, Chris, and a person who shall not be named today. We all used to work at the same facility, and with that job, if we'd been both working there right now during COVID, I would have said absolutely. I have no desire to go back, because for me the commute was horrible. We all worked on on computers that we all kind of remoted into. There was absolutely no reason for us to be in the office at all. We could have all done that job from home. I think it was more of a security thing or what have you. But I think if we'd all been working at that job during COVID, I don't think any one of us would want to go back in the office.
That's the concern I have in the future, just being paranoid, is that let's say it's at the point where companies don't want to have the liability to bring you back to the office, but they also want to have more overarching control of your home. For instance, we're not going to have you in the office. You're going to be a working from home worker, but since you're working on sensitive material, we're going to have to do an inspection of your house to make sure that you properly have a way to close all your windows so no one sees what you're working on, or whatever.
Right.
there's some part of that like 1984 side of me that is a little worried about the outcome of that. Although I guess there'd be mass protests, which aren't allowed about it, if that were to be the case. Sorry, I'm going down a conspiracy rabbit hole here, but it is a little weird now that your work is at home, right? Like, you probably had to sign off on something to work from home, and those things that you sign off on generally get more wordy and more stringent, and never less wordy and less stringent. So I wonder what next year's NDA will look like, should you continue to work from home.
Interesting. That's an interesting thought. But now, from the financial perspective, okay, from the financial perspective, both business, commercial, and employees, buildings now, like WeWorks. Now, they built all these WeWorks around the world.
Right.
Right? I mean, it was a big deal. It was a huge deal. When I went to India, there was WeWorks in India. Okay? All of these communities where people could come. They didn't have to leave. They had childcare in there. They had restaurants. You could sleep there. You could do all these things there. All over the world, they built these. 3 of them here. Is one on Venice Boulevard right now. Venice Boulevard they were building. And slowly but surely, you see less and less people working on that building as I drove by. Because why?
Everyone's working from home.
There's no one. Everybody's at home.
Yeah.
So now, what are we going to do with all of these WeWork buildings that they just invested in? Well, from what I understand, they're going to change all of those to condos now.
Yeah.
They're going to use the top 4 floors, top 5 floors, and now you know how the Grove and all of these places, the Americana in Glendale, California, they have the apartments below, and they have the apartments and the condos above, and they have all of the retail business below. Well, they're gonna flip it. They're gonna do retail businesses, then office space, and above the office space are going to be condominiums that you could buy.
So you'd essentially be working above your office?
Yes. Wow. Because they're gonna have to recoup this money.
Right.
It's got to be a business plan in place.
There's going to be a lot of big businesses that are just going to be filed for bankruptcy because they're just, of course, the industry's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
WeWork stock is sinking faster than, no pun intended, cruise ship stock.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's certain things that won't come back, and there's certain new things that are coming as a result of this.
Okay, and that's the question. Okay, now I'm glad you said that, Chris, because anyone with a decent amount of money to invest will have to understand what the future is going to look like. I don't know if you all recognize this. I know, Tim, you have, and Chris, I don't know how.
I've been afraid to check my 401k. I just assume it's empty. Yeah. So I haven't checked it since it started.
Mines are covered a little bit.
You may know what I'm going to lead into here, but how surprised were you all to find out that Apple is going to split?
What?
Apple.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
You haven't heard
no.
This? Apple is going to do a split at the end of the month of their stock. They're selling now at about $330 a share, and at the end of the month, they've decided that they're going to do a split on the stock, making it available for about $100 a share.
Nice.
Oh, so they're not splitting the company; they're doing something with the stock.
They're doing something with the stock.
Okay.
They're doing something, making basically what a split does is allow people who may be unable to invest because of the high cost, but it also gives the company more opportunities to earn more on the same stock. That's why that's called a split. They take a stock and they split it.
Right. So you have an A and a B stock.
You have an A and a B stock. So
okay.
Where a stock would be $330 per share, when you do a split, it opens up the shareholders open up an opportunity for more people to invest at a lesser amount per stock, and it's a window. It's a window, right? So for $1,000, you can own 10 shares of Apple. Now, that is a real interesting, because we keep in mind we're still in the COVID, and I don't want to get conspiratorial, but the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Yeah,
you've seen that for sure during this.
Well, I sat there and I was sitting there looking at the market. And that was one of the stressful things I was looking at in the beginning of COVID, was just watching my 401k tank. But I sat there and I thought about it, and I went, wait a second, during financial downturn, this is how the rich get rich. They sit there and they buy low and sell high. So I sat there, I waited, and I said, okay, I saw Disney stock fall under $100 a share, and I bought some of that. Yeah, it's only made about $30 so far, so that hasn't really gone up tremendously. But I bought Amazon, and that's made about $2,000. So little by little.
And that is the, and now so now I'm gonna get,
Tim's helping the rich get richer,
right?
Yeah, but now the conversation is going to switch a bit, because Black people don't know about this. You see, this is the problem when it comes to educating and understanding people during these times, right? Because we're in the COVID and everybody's focused on the COVID. Everybody's talking about this. And behind the scenes, certain people are making it advantageous for them to have information that will allow them during the COVID to still succeed, while other people, unfortunately, are disfranchised because they don't have the information and don't have the capital to be able to make these kind of investments.
Right.
You're saying that a lack of education is a form of insider trading?
Exactly. I'm saying the lack of. I'm also saying that companies are giving themselves opportunities to earn more during a downtime. They're giving themselves opportunities to earn more during a time where people possibly could be receiving more money because of government kickbacks for the COVID, or could be able to recoup some of the money they lost in a stock that typically would not split. So again, it's creating opportunities for the wealthy to invest in the wealthy, right, so that they can maintain during these crucial times. And I get the importance of it. Don't get me wrong. I understand why the economy is important, because if the economy is weak, then our borders could be weak. And we don't want people to come over here looking at our financial borders or our physical borders. I get it. But the divide gets heavier and heavier. The divide, the digital divide, the financial divide, all of that stuff gets wider and wider during a time where people are still trying to survive.
Yeah, there's definitely a threat of this becoming dystopian within a very short amount of time.
Very short.
Well, and then it's like I said, I was sitting there. I'm sitting there looking at the market, or I was looking at investments and all that during COVID. But there's a good portion of the population that I was actually really surprised to find out that, because I guess there's a change shortage right now, or some kind of there's a shortage in change or whatever, and I guess this affects.
Well, because everyone in California keeps asking me for change.
change, make some change. But I guess a lot of
stocks on tents from Big Five are on the way up in Venice. You got to see what's going on out here.
Tienes cambio?
We got some blocks that are no longer blocks. They're now communities.
That's funny, but I guess there's
empty blocks, I should say, empty streets.
There's actually a big change shortage right now, because I guess restaurants, and not restaurants, but grocery stores and retail establishments are all they're not accepting paper money. They don't want to accept any cash, because they're afraid of passing along the virus, or passing along issues, or passing along the virus. But so this has actually kind of created something of a change shortage. Plus, I guess the Fed or the Mint is reducing their the amount of change that they're actually, or coinage that they're actually putting out in circulation. So it's created something of a change shortage. And I guess this is affecting a population where it's people that are all cash society, and or there's a segment of the population that only deals in cash, that they don't have checking accounts, and that surprised the hell out of me that there are actually a lot of people out there who do not have a checking account. They don't know how to use a debit card. They don't know how to balance a checkbook, and it's like that. Like I said, surprised the hell out of me about that was a thing. And I think it gets back to your point, George, is that it's that lack of education, is that it's something that either wasn't taught or wasn't instilled. Maybe that person's parents never had a checking account, or or what have you. So they all pay in cash, and they I've heard stories where it was my wife's former employer. He had to sit there and take some of his employees by the hand and teach them how to open a checking account, and how to go out there and actually, you're going to these check cashing places, and getting charged an exorbitant amount of fees to go out there and, just to cash a payroll check. It's like, just go to the bank, open up a checking account, and you can get it done for free. But it's it's talking about like I said, the haves and the have-nots, and there's definitely people that are suffering during this.
That's the reason why even though I'm pro gay rights, I see some of the LGBT stuff going on in schools is a little weird. Is that you have people who are essentially well off enough dictating to other people that they have to learn about this stuff in school when they don't teach how to balance a checkbook.
Right. Oh, it's funny. I think
there's more hierarchy of needs things going on, that some of these are a little more basic.
True.
Oh, I think that should be a 101 for every, like, maybe as soon as you enter high school or whatever, learn how to balance a checkbook. When I was in high school, that was like one of the first things I learned how to do. But it was but this was even before the time of debit cards, or where you could sit there. I think I had to learn this the hard way when I got out in the real world and got my first job. Was the aspect of when you wrote a check, you sat there, you had a little ledger, and you could sit there and say, okay, I've got $300 in the bank. If I write a check for $100, I've got $200 in the bank. But with like a debit card, this is something, like I said, again, something I had to learn the hard way. Was you'd sit there, you'd swipe it, say, okay, great, I've made a purchase, but you wouldn't go out there and necessarily balance your own little ledger and balance, where you were, write down, how much you spent or how much you have in the bank. You'd just go out there, put your card in the machine, and it said what your balance was, but you'd forget, you've got, so much money outstanding still out in the world. So yeah, I was in my early days of college and out in the world. I was overdrawn quite a bit, and I think that's one of the things I think that it also has to be explained about how to use a checking account when you're explaining to people that normally don't have one. It's like, here's the benefits of having one. You don't have to go to these check cashing places, but you also need to be educated on how to properly use it so that you don't get yourself in trouble.
I got screwed for a long time because of overdrafts. Because I think it was Washington Mutual I had at the time. I can't remember. I don't want to call it the wrong bank. Fuck them.
They're all the same.
So what I asked was, okay, I'm gonna have a debit card. Will this? I don't pay attention to it that much. Will it ever overdraft? No, it will never overdraft. It will block you from overdrafting.
Bullshit.
Well, I was in college, and a few days in a row, I went to Taco Bell and bought a taco each time. And those 5 to 7 tacos over the course of a week all dinged on the overdraft, and the overdraft charge was $35 or whatever it was, and I got a fee for $200 in the mail, overdraft. So I was being like righteous indignation. I was lied to. I'm not paying that. Okay, now went to collections, didn't pay that. Finally, they downed the price to like $80, and I paid it off. Well, now I had a severe delinquency on my record for a long time,
right?
Due to 5 to 7 tacos.
That's one expensive taco.
So it should be also taught that even if you're in the right with some financial things, you shouldn't be too prideful. Especially when you were blowing your money at Taco Bell in the first place.
Yeah, I think we all have those stories of how the bank basically takes advantage of us, even to this day. I think we're just older now, and we recognize the tricks that they play. But I also was a victim of having delinquencies on my credit and dealing with banks to the point where for a lot of years, I too had to do a cashless thing. I had to go cash only because of, my ignorance and because of, unfortunately, dealing with some folks that weren't very honest to me, both on the banking side and on the employment side. So as a result of that, I started having a family very early. I was in college. I had children, and you're stuck in survival mode. It's really a survival mode. And unfortunately, when you are in survival mode, some things can look, now looking back on it, can look desperate. And unfortunately, when you have desperate thoughts, you have desperate actions. And they continue to produce desperate results.
Right.
And you're paying for them for a long time. So, and that speaks to a lot of what the Black community has experienced when it comes to that ignorance about exactly what you're talking about. And the difference is Chris, for you were a single man, in college. At the same time, I was in college too, but I had 2 children. I had a place, and it took me forever to get out of that. And I know that some of my early days, I could have made better decisions, and I understand that. But the reality is going back to what Tim said, I didn't have the education, and I didn't have the knowledge from people because they did their best. My parents did their best. I can't be upset with my parents. I can't hold a grudge with my parents about why they didn't teach me how to checkbook and how they, oh man, my parents did this. Stop it. I can't blame my parents for that. I'm an adult. It's up to me to seek the knowledge. And if I have to look back and help them, that's what I'm supposed to do for my parents.
Right.
So, it was a tough time. It was a tough time for me doing that as well with those.
The situation you're describing is like buying an extra inch of rope each week as you continue to slide down it off the edge of a cliff. And I think a lot of people deal with that, not forever, but at least for a while.
Yeah.
And the recession, for my generation, kind of made us into like the next pseudo era of the Depression era people. I'm sure people for real now will act like that, and that people were, besides the housing market being ridiculous, like people were kind of cautious not to fuck up again. Because when we had very little money, the recession hit. So that kind of sticks with you. There were times for years after I started making money where I wouldn't spend it. And I was misery. But I would refuse to do it. Now I loosened up a little.
Right.
Well, they say you're supposed to live below your means.
I would
That's
refuse.
the best way to go.
I was real stubborn. I would refuse gifts. I was an asshole about it. Now, yeah, I got over it a little, but I mean, the next storm is just around the corner. I mean, we only had that big recession 10, 12 years ago, and now we're looming at the edge of a depression.
Right.
Not to be too depressing to our viewers out there, who are probably already know all of this and feel this.
Thanks for taking us down that road there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be careful with those tacos out there, guys.
7 tacos, 7 years.
But yeah, I think that's like a number one thing I think they should teach. Either whether it's in high school or starting in high school is how to balance a checkbook, how to manage a checking account, how to manage credit. Because that's important. It's a lot of people, like I said, they're not invested in society. They don't understand how credit works, or they don't understand, or basic financial 101, how to invest in a 401k, how to invest, in retirement. Because people don't think about that stuff, in their teens or 20s or 30s. It's like not until you hit your 40s and 50s that you're like, oh, I gotta start saving. I gotta put stuff away for retirement, and I should have started. And the first thing, everybody says the same thing once they start saving and start investing. The first thing they always say is, "Damn, I should have started a lot sooner." So,
and Tim, that goes back to the whole conspiracy. It's a fishbowl. The economy needs people to learn things at certain times. There's a reason why we all do. Basically, it's set up in a way that it allows the economy to move at certain rates. So, when 18-year-olds, they go to college. So for 4 years, we have them in a place. Then they get out of college and they start entry-level jobs. So economically, they're in a place. Then when they get to 28, 30, they're going to get married. Economically, they're in a place. Now, if you start jumping over that and having millionaires at 21, right? If you start saying, okay, we're going to teach them how to become millionaires when they're 18, what does that do now to the economy? What does that do now to the good old boys who've been holding on to all of this wealth for so long, and they need to be able to spread this out through generations?
Well, yeah, I mean, the results show that the income per generation is going down. And my generation specifically got hit really hard with that, whereas, like, by the time we were in, like, adulthood, had, like, in prime earning years, we only controlled, like, 8% of the economy, where the boomer generation still controlled a plurality of it.
Yeah, but then you all got lucky in your generation, Chris, because you guys posted the youngest millionaires.
Right, there are exceptions because of YouTube.
Yeah, you posted your generation posted the most millionaires, the youngest, what they call them, 40, 30 a million. I forget what they call it. I got to look that up. I think you call it the 30 Club or something like that. Millionaires, so many millionaires under 30 that they have. Forbes created this list of millionaires under 30. And
I almost made that list. God, I was so close. $1 million shy of it.
See, Tim was trying to market how to manage money, but he should have done his real calling. Write a book on how to manage his women.
That's it.
Yeah, that would have been just a leaflet.
That would have been a postcard, front and back postcard.
My wife has an interesting philosophy about money and shared resources. She'll say, she goes, what's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine too.
Okay.
That's married life.
You should do a list of top 10 soul-crushing married facts. We'll play the Love and Marriage theme song over.
Is that Married with Children?
Yeah. Don't worry. During my monologues, we could just play the Peter Pan theme. So.
Yeah.
Speaking of, do you mind if I do my lunchbox here? What's in my lunchbox?
Get on your lunchbox.
Oh, please do open up the lunchbox and pull out the rant of the week.
And now it's time for the weekly rant.
Since my printer broke, I'm actually opening up my laptop, so sorry if this looks a little weird. Okay, my rant this week is about the coronavirus, is about the lockdowns, but I'm going to take a weird road to get there. All ready? Here we go.
Wait, if I could play better piano, I'd play Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, but not there yet.
Edit that in, Tim. Edit that in.
There you go.
Here we go. In 1979, Don Bluth famously left the comfort of the stale and complacent Disney and went on to outflank the animation giant throughout the 1980s. In his Fall of Man-style parable, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Charlie B. Barkin, the main character, is a good-natured German shepherd, but also an escaped convict who enjoys singing and gambling, passions of life. He's murdered by his business partner in order to control the local doggy casino. Yes, this was a kid's movie. Upon entering heaven, he's greeted by an angelic whippet named Annabelle, who tells him he's now in heaven because all dogs go to heaven. There's no more pain, no more suffering. Anything you desire is now yours. Everyone here gets along, free food, and it's even implied, free sex. No struggle whatsoever. In a musical number starring, by the way, Burt Reynolds is the voice actor of Charlie B. Barkin, so if you want to hear the musical prowess of Burt Reynolds, Charlie rejects the notion of heaven, voicing his concern to the angel that he is not done with life, He has scores to settle, and he has highs left to chase. The thrill and messiness that excites him is missing from the malaise of the heaven he is provided with. Using his charm, he kind of seduces and deceives the angel in order to return back to earth. Upon the realization of the deception, the sweet angel certainly turns very controlling. What are you doing? And vitriolic. Don't touch that. All right? And as he plummets back to earth, deception complete, the angel issues a dire warning. You can never come back. I think Charlie represents the American spirit. The country was founded on idealistic rebellion. Our Constitution, written by our own government, has written in it how to overthrow that government and how that can be just in certain situations. So there are times when this mentality helps, and there are times when it hurts. But for better or worse, Americans don't want to be told what to do, no matter how nicely it's phrased. And I think a large portion of the country has decided during the pandemic that we would like to, as Charlie B. Barkin was, be surprised. Now, I don't agree with that mentality. I wear the mask, but I'm only one of 10 to 15% of people who do. And I don't think it's a liberal or conservative thing, as everyone's saying. Maybe it's somewhat of that. But out here in Venice, those people are not registered Republicans. They're not wearing the mask. And it's just because no one gives a crap. And I think it's sad, and I think it's a shame, because when people were wearing the mask is a time when they were making their own opinions. If you remember at the beginning of the pandemic, everyone was shit nervous. And part of it was because we didn't know what was the future and what was going to happen and how deadly this was. But part of it was people were making their own decisions. Companies were making their own decisions whether they were going to shut or not. There was a little bit of a domino effect with that. But people were all on best behavior. Everyone was on best behavior. The schizophrenic people on the boardwalk were on pretty good behavior. That says a lot. And so once the government, I think in some way, once the government started being more restrictive and telling you what you could and couldn't do, that's when people started taking off the mask in defiance. And part of that is maybe ignorance, but part of that is like, F this. And my final point is that tyrants can come in all forms. There are some people who'll be very pleasant, just like that angel, as long as they continue to get what they want. But step outside the box and get ready to meet the dark side. Look at helicopter parents. They're super friendly. Everyone says, how could that child be so upset with that nice lady, and how could that nice lady be taken? But the helicopter parent is always in control. So as friendly as they could be very careful of people who say they know what's best for you. In my opinion, wear the mask. But it's only opinion. I'm not forcing you. It's not my right to tell you. So I'm cool if you don't wear it. But I'm going to. The end.
Hold on, guys. Richard, what do you think about that? I'll wait. Oh, Richard never showed up to the podcast. He's an idiot. Okay, so that was awesome, Chris. You're right, man. I love how you put that together.
30 minutes before the show.
Damn.
Yeah.
Chris can write, man. There's some hell of an insight there, man.
Hell of an insight. 30 minutes before the show. But I love the analogy with the cartoon and bringing it back home, man. But I wear the mask too, by the way. I do wear the mask. The people who love me the most require it because I refuse to be mobilized by this thing, it's required for me. If I'm going to do and get out and still be discover new things, I have to wear the mask for my family. That's it.
Right.
That is where I have to draw the line, because it's bigger than me. I can't consider not being here for my family. But by that same token, I can't allow my family to tell me to stay at home, bunkered in my little 400 square feet apartment in downtown LA. But by that same token, it's a give and take for me, But I do wear the mask. I do have my opinions. I think everyone should wear the mask as personal responsibility. We don't know, just like we don't know if we go to heaven or hell when we die. We don't know where the fuck this pandemic is going to go either. And we can't act like we're going to know. And this can't be, for me, this cannot be a part of some political, election year rhetoric that allow people to vacillate between their feelings because they want this president, this governor. F that. We're talking about the health of the world right now. This is not about who's going to be president, but I get it. I wear the mask. What about you, Tim?
I mean, I wear it. Obviously, it's I've got like 2 people in my household with underlying health conditions, so of course I'm wearing it anytime I leave the house. And when I'm in the office, it's mandatory that we have to wear it inside the office if we're in like common areas where there's other employees around. But if you're alone in your office or in your cubicle or in an area where there's nobody around you, you're allowed to take it off as long as you maintain social distance. And I think it's really interesting now being back to work and having to wear it. And I mean, I could sympathize. It is uncomfortable wearing the thing. I wear glasses, and if I have a looser mask, you definitely get the condensation going.
I won't wear the surgical one because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's different masks with a better seal or whatever. What I've noticed is I've got the worst, I think, are the homemade masks because I don't think they have a really good seal. But as long as I put like my glasses or whatever over it with the foam mask or whatever, then I don't seem to get the condensation. And it's fine. But it's uncomfortable. And the minute I'm away from like the common areas or I'm back in my office or whatever, I'm taking that thing off because it is uncomfortable. But I do understand, yes, it's for the common good. And yes, I'm washing my hands every chance I get. I'm sitting there, maintaining the social distance, and I'm not going out, unnecessarily if I don't have to. Because I don't want to bring it home. And it's at the end of the day too, I mean, I can speak from personal experience. I've never had COVID, obviously, but it's a disease. It's kind of like pneumonia, from what I understand. It's like pneumonia 2.0, and I've had pneumonia twice, and I can tell you it affects every aspect of your body. You cannot move. You can't. It's hard to breathe. It's hard. You're shivering. You're doing. It affects. You don't really realize how much your lungs affect every aspect of your body. And if COVID is worse than pneumonia, then I don't need that shit at all. So I think with that alone, it's it's worth just making the sacrifice and doing what I got to do. The question that I have is if I think Chris brought it up is would you do this? Go ahead.
George went to go beat up Richard. Oh. Sorry, what were we saying?
I just coughed, so I gotta get my mask.
Oh, that's very responsible.
You didn't want to pass this on to our.
You're adding to your. Wow, you added a little bit of color and pizzazz to your outfit with that.
Yeah. I was coughing and I didn't want to be. I'm right at the. I don't have the 6 feet distancing between you two guys, so I'm looking right at you. So.
Do you never wear? You only wear black clothing?
For the last 2.5 years.
That's racist.
Are you in mourning or something?
No, it's not mourning. Actually.
You're skinny. I'm the one who should be wearing black clothing.
We're gonna have a whole segment on that, you see, but we're gonna have a whole segment.
This will be one of many interventions I've had about this topic, actually.
Hashtag all black. So, but listen, I thought I'd put my mask on here to make sure that I didn't, transmit through the fiber optics. And
you look like a ninja. You look like a member of the Foot Clan.
Hold on. I'm gonna add to it. Hold on.
Uh-oh. George has left the building. What was I saying?
That background, George's background reminds me of that old alien autopsy show from the 90s.
All right.
Uh-oh.
So this is battle.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
I've gone out of the house like that, and I wonder, if I'm just freaking the hell out of everyone.
Well, listen, this right here is public enemy number 1.
Yep.
Right? So now I have the
ninja.
All black and black. So my white brothers and sisters, when they see me coming, they like, oh shit. Oh shit, I'm 6 feet tall. I'm tired, and this is what's coming at me. And then, well, you know what I do when I get to them?
You're holding nunchucks?
No, I greet them with so much love. Zen, right? Because you guys know I'm a good guy. So
oh yeah.
They're not ready for this totally this teddy bear of a guy who's so nice and sweet, and I'm always so gentle. But when they first see me, again, book by.
Right? Look like ready to rob them, man.
Yeah, they're always telling the book by its cover, but we got to get out of that shit. You can't judge me by how I look. You got to open up the book and read it.
I somewhat sympathize with this because I'm big. Like old women, I feel so guilty when it happens. But old women will like run across the street when they see me because I look like a murderer, rapist guy.
Wow.
But I know. Since I was a kid, I'm gonna tell you this, and we're gonna wrap it up, guys, because we're going over. But
sorry to cut you off, Tim. Before
that's okay.
Oh, go ahead, Tim. Were you saying something?
Oh no, we were just talking about whether I think Chris was talking about whether he would do COVID again, or whether he would do the quarantine again. And I think if it was asked, I think for safety, like if our alleged or I'll hail the governor of California, if he came out there and said, okay, look, we got to shut this thing down for safety. I mean, I would do it again, obviously. I mean, I think it'd be a big pain in the ass, and I think nobody wants to have stuff shut down again. But it's what it is. We're going through all these rounds of deaths, and thousands of people are getting diagnosed a day, and thousands of people are dying a day. So yeah, I think it's eventually
they're going to reopen everything but bowling alleys with your luck,
right? Oh, it came close. I mean, it actually opened. They actually opened up bowling alleys out in the Inland Empire and out in Orange County. For those that don't know, we're in California. I don't know if that's a big shocker there, but anyway. But yeah, they actually opened up in a few counties, and so I thought about making a trip out there when they were opened up, but yeah, I didn't want to risk bringing it home, so yeah, I took a pass on it. They sacrificed no bowling. But it's funny because my brother and dad, they're pretty avid bowlers themselves. And they were going out there going bowling, and they started getting back into it. And so they said, I think they just went out there and bought like new bowling balls, and my dad got new shoes and new this and new that. And it's like all of a sudden like, okay, now we're shutting it down again. And it's like, oh, I just got a new bowling ball. I can't do anything with it. It's like, haha.
Tim, you got to reach into your Italian roots and switch to bocce ball. That's outdoor activity.
Yep, I know bocce.
Never heard of it.
Bocce. It's
my
lawn bowling,
101 sport I'd watch before soccer. Actually,
shout out to the 100 reasons why I don't look at soccer, Chris. Last episode of the podcast. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
There'll be a link. There'll be a link up here in the description.
That's it. 100 reasons why. 100 things that Chris would do, or rather, 100 things that Chris would watch instead of watching
soccer.
100 reminders of just how petty of a man I am.
It's a tongue twister for me. But anyway, guys. All right. So let's. You guys have been great, of course. I thank you guys for showing up and showing out. Because obviously, like I always say, you guys could be doing something else instead of hanging out with me. But Chris, thank you so much. Tim, thank you so much.
What's up?
Richard never showed up. This may be a sign that we may be in or out, but I'm hoping, of course, that he's safe and everything's good. We love him, and we give him shit. But we're hoping that everything's okay with him, and hopefully we'll see him next time.
Richard had to be bumped for time.
Say it again, Tim.
Richard had to be bumped for time.
Yeah, we had.
It was him and Matt. It was him or Matt Damon. So. There
you go. And as my mom used to say, don't one monkey no stop those shows. So we're going to keep going with this show anyway, regardless of if someone doesn't decide to show up, including myself. But I'll always be here. But anyway, guys, episode 3 is done. American Podcast. Thank you guys for showing up, listening to us.
Hey, make sure to subscribe, man. Hit that subscribe, hit that like button.
Hit the subscribe button. And show your love for this terrific group, guys. Thank you guys again. Tim, you got something to say? What do you want to say?
I think currently we're at 10 views or something on our YouTube. So yeah, give us some likes so we can smash the algorithm so we can get something that way, especially like right now. Because if you've watched all this to the end, I don't know. Maybe should our viewers get rewarded for watching this all the way to the end?
Oh, wait. We're gonna do something very soon. Okay. All right.
You don't want to see that. That wouldn't be a reward, actually.
Yeah. Don't you actually live at the beach? I mean, should you have more color at this point?
Right, but I came from the ocean, so that's the problem.
Oh my.
Wait, what happened?
Oh my goodness! You need to take off some of those clothes and get a tan.
The government's already banning enough things, so I don't want to be next.
And boy, I don't want to see that anyway. But anyway, guys, thank you guys again. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Peace.
American Podcast.